Alright, today we're going to change the rear differential fluid on a 2012 Acura MDX with the super handling 4-wheel drive. Our rear differential fluid from Acura, we got 3 quarts of it. We got a little creeper, a collection pan, and we also have an air compressor with the appropriate tools to take the things off. First we're going to start with getting the wrench out to get the spare tire off. So you get that off, you come over here, pop the little spare tire thing, and you start lowering the tire. Underneath the vehicle here you can see the tire has come down. We're going to go ahead and take that off. It's a little hard to do with one hand. I'm going to take this thing and push it back through. And now the spare tire is completely out, and now you can see the VTM where we're going to be working with to do the change. I'm sorry, the rear differentials. The VTM's on the... Alright, so we got our 3/8 extension. That's going to hopefully take off this bolt. Alright, so we're going to take the fill bolt out first, just in case we can't get this off. You don't want to drain the fluid and then not be able to fill it back up. So here we got the wrench lined up with the fill bolt. It's kind of hard to do one hand, but alright, we got it off. Alright, we're going to give a Darwin Award to Acura engineers for designing the support that is blocking my ability to get a pneumatic wrench in for the drain bolt. So I got my 1/2-inch socket with a 3/8 adapter, you can see on there, and I was able to get this broken, but I will caution you before you do it, you may want to get a smaller profile tool to get in there, because sometimes these things are just way too tight to break by hand, and I don't have a pneumatic lift for the car, so I got limited leverage. But I was able to get this off, and you can see now the bolt is turning, it's loose, so we'll get the drain pan to drain out the fluid. Alright, here we go. There's not a lot of room to work in here. There's a washer there, so be careful that you don't lose the washer. In fact, you should go to the dealership and get new washers every time you do this. Alright. Still pretty clean. I think it's overkill. You can see there's a little bit magnetic component here on this bolt, but they say every 15,000 miles to transfer this, and we're about 14,000, but it doesn't look bad at all. Here you got the drain bolt with the magnetic component and the crush washer, and here you got the fill. I dropped the washer for this guy. There's a little crack in between that structural component that you can actually lose the washer taking it out. Be really careful, but again, I'm going to go ahead and go to the dealership today and get a couple new crush washers just to make sure we have new things. So, well, here's your new crush washers. You put these on. And once you torque them down, the washers you can't reuse. They're as worthless as a prenup after you sign the marriage papers. Right, now we're going to hand tighten first this fill the drain bolt. Can't get them mixed up. The magnetic bottom goes in, or the magnetic bolt goes in the bottom. I guess it's to catch all the little metal shavings. Once we get that finger tight, we're going to grab our torque wrench, which I set to 35 foot-pounds, and torque it down. I'm really not thrilled about the engineering job Acura did with this. If you don't have a lift, there's really not much room to work here, but you may want to get a shorter torque wrench, but you can't get as much leverage. But when you get it tight, you'll hear it clicking, but you do run into the exhaust on this manifold on this side as well as over here. So it's just a little bit difficult to do, but we're at the 35 foot-pounds right now, so we're good. Alright, now for the pouring, I just got a little adapter for this fluid. Screwed it into the quart, and you can kind of squeeze the fluid in. It's kind of the Goldilocks method, not too much. You want it to settle down there, but we're going to do this for 3 quarts. We may not be able to get 3 quarts all the way in, so we'll have to put the cap on briefly, start the car up back and forth a few times in the driveway. Alright, so just like I thought, you can't get all 3 quarts in, so I put the fill cap back on. I did it finger tight with the extension. I'm going to back the car up, back it up and go forward a few times in the driveway. It should distribute the fluid enough to get the rest of the last quart in there. Okay, so we did the back and forth in the driveway a few times. The rest of the fluid seems to go in good. It's not dripping out like it was before. We're just about there with the 3 quarts. We're just about done. Alright, so we grabbed Mr. Torque Wrench. Same thing, both bolts are 35 foot-pounds. I tightened it up a little bit with the ratchet, and you can see we're right there. This one's a little bit easier because you can see you have the leverage, but again, Acura, if you're watching, the poorest engineering design I've ever seen on your rear differential. Back on, which to be honest with you is probably a 2-person job. It's hard to do with one hand. But now we're just going to crank it up and secure it back in. Alright, the rear tire is back up and secured. It's not going to be moving, so we are actually all done. So we just changed the rear differential fluid on a 2012 Acura MDX super handling all-wheel drive. Usually at this point in the video I'd tell you if it was all worth it and go drink a cold one with all the money you saved, but I gotta be honest with you, this may be more work than it's worth for you, but here's the steps if you want to do it.